There was a lot of sort of kind of fuzzy information that came out when Wayne had a seizure.
Yes.
He ended up in the hospital. But you were actually with him, you know, maybe not physically, but you guys were in a relationship during this time. What actually happened?
Gosh, so that was September 2013. September. On my end, I had gone to bed and I turned off my phone, and I woke up the next morning and I just had this feeling, something. I remember looking for my phone, like frantically looking for my phone, not being able to find it, and I looked at it. Finally, I found it, turned it on, and all these messages popped up. And it was all about Wayne, like, call me, you know, Wayne's in the hospital, call me, you know, we need to talk to you. Like, my people, his people, like people just texting me at all these text messages. And I remember, like, my heart, like, and so I texted him and he didn't text me back. And I remember just starting to call people, just starting to call people in his camp, you know, and find out what was going on. So it took a couple of hours. This is just after the first big seizure. It took a couple of hours and he finally hit me back to let me know he was okay. I just remember crying, like being so happy that he was okay, and beginning to wonder, like, what happened, if anything ever happened to him. Like, you know, you start to think about those things, you know, like we're not these young kids anymore on this tour bus, you know what I mean? Just riding around, smoking blunts and, you know, and just kind of living recklessly. Like, you know, we have children and you start thinking about things, and yeah. So we talked every single day after that. We had this renewed energy in our relationship, and every single day we talked. And then he had another seizure and scared me again, and he hit me. I was like, I'm okay, you know. And I was always in contact with someone in his crew, and just kind of, you know, I wasn't at the hospital. I was nearby. I left my home and I stayed close to the hospital, so I could be there in case anything. But I would never go there. And he knew I was close by, you know, just in case. And then there was the big scare that came, I think, in 2014, when TMZ reported that he was, like, near death. Mm-hmm. And again, I hadn't heard anything, because I live in this bubble where I'm not really on. I just live in a bubble. So Daytwan Thomas called me. Daytwan, who's now, again, the editor over at Vibe, called me and told me. And I remember letting out this, the scream that you hear on TV, you know, when some poor man has been shot down in the middle of the street and his mother comes out, and there's always this scream, and you only hear that scream on TV, you know? That scream came out of my mouth. And I just remember falling to the floor and just screaming. I started writing How to Make Love to a Martian in between this time with all these seizures, because I had two fears. I feared that I would lose him, and I feared that nobody would believe me when I told them what our relationship was really like. Because then if something happened to him, he'd be gone. And I wanted to write this love story and tell it the way it was. And that it's not tawdry or dirty or, you know, weird. It was this amazing relationship that spans, you know, all these years, and it's history. Like, it's like one of those tales they tell. They've been telling our story now for all these years in magazines, and he's talked about it, and I've talked about it. And it's, you know, when we're not here anymore, they'll still be talking about this, you know, and it's culture. It's like this history now, you know. But I wanted to add to that in a way that that would do him justice, just in case. And that's what I was thinking when I wrote that. And I wrote it quickly. It took me 2 weeks. It's very short. And I just wanted to show people part of, you know, what he's done for me, and what our relationship has really been like.
What do you think about Charlamagne comparing, you know, to Pimp a Butterfly and you know, Sugar Free's influence?
I heard myself. He acting like he up in here fighting some big murder trial, and everybody's in there pointing him out and snitching. He acting like he went to jail. He acting like he just, like, the whole snitched on theme of it is just like some made up cartoon type shit. You feel me?